Let's talk about the big picture. My whole big thesis has been that the only way to capture returns in this world of indebted economies with aging populations is to find the assets that are in a secular trend. And there's actually not that many. In fact, the ones that are really in a secular trend, the ones that outperform the debasement of currency of other central banks, are actually two. One is technology, and the other is crypto, and they both form part of what I refer to as the exponential age. So this is something that is going to be the fastest pace of change of technology and probably the fabric of society and how economies are structured in all of humanity in the shortest period of time.
Raoul Pal, the founder and chief executive of Real Vision, envisions a remarkable bull run for cryptocurrencies and technology. He believes these asset classes will lead the next phase of exponential technological advancement. According to Pal, the bull market expected around 2024 to 2025 will signify the true beginning of this exponential age. Over the next few years leading up to 2030, he anticipates an unprecedented adoption of blockchain technologies, artificial intelligence, robotics, the Internet of Things, genetic sciences, quantum computing, and other disruptive technologies. This rapid adoption will coincide with what he predicts to be the most explosive price surge in human history. Pal's outlook is grounded in the belief that the failures of existing financial and economic systems have made a global economic reset imperative. He suggests that central banks have resorted to putting increasing debt on their balance sheets and printing money to prop up struggling economies since the 2008 financial crisis. However, this strategy has reached a point of no return, necessitating continuous liquidity injections. With a substantial increase in money printing expected from central banks in the coming year, Pal anticipates significant price increases in crypto assets like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. Pal, a respected macro expert, elaborates on his predictions for the forthcoming crypto and macro landscape in a recent Twitter Spaces discussion.
The exponential age is that moment when multiple technologies that were all enabled essentially by the internet all layer on top of each other and go to mass adoption phase all at the same time. Crypto was the first of these technologies. If you also think that mobile phone was the other technology that built on top of the internet and fiber optic cables, that led to the rise of crypto. Crypto got to 400 million users in record time versus any other technology in history. So that was the fastest adoption of any technology the world had ever seen. And luckily, because of the way crypto is built from the ground up, you get to participate in that network adoption by owning parts of those networks, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, whatever it may be. But also at the same time, there were a number of other technologies. I first wrote about this I can't remember, it was I think maybe March or April 2021. And I said, well, what is coming is AI, robotics, space, Internet of Things, genetic sciences, distributed computing, quantum computing, and all of these things. And over the next 10 years, all of these things are going to experience Metcalfe's law roughly at the same time. Some will be later, like quantum. I didn't know what was going to come first. EV is another one. And when you put Metcalfe's laws that are all intermingled with each other, because they all build on top of each other, you get something called Reed's law. Reed's law is essentially Metcalfe's law squared. If Metcalfe's law you need a logarithmic chart for, Reed's law is preposterous because it makes logarithmic charts look like linear charts. So I actually asked ChatGPT this the other day. I said, is there any examples in human history of Reed's law? And nothing in technology has that ever happened before. It's actually only happened in biology. So this is something that is going to be the fastest pace of change of technology and probably the fabric of society and how economies are structured in all of humanity in the shortest period of time. And, we've seen that. I think people are starting to get their heads around it once you saw AI explode onto the scene in the fastest adoption of any technology ever. It got to 100 million users in 5 weeks. And by the time Microsoft roll it out across all of their Office suite of products, et cetera, it'll be 1 billion users by Q1 next year. It's an extraordinary change. And then the technology itself is exponential in its improvements. And so within that, we're also seeing robotics starting to go exponential. We're seeing Amazon hiring more robots as productive economic units than they are hiring humans now. We're seeing all across the world changes. We're seeing EV cars outselling traditional cars. We're seeing a huge amount of capital pouring into changing sources of energy. We're seeing the massive growth of the Internet of Things and wearables. We're seeing AR and VR. You know, Apple and Meta have both kind of hit the accelerator button on that. And by next year, Apple will have rolled this out to hundreds of millions of people. So we're in this extraordinary period of change. It's the most exciting period in human history. We're kind of lucky to be alive, but it's also terrifying. But part of my exponential age thesis has been blockchain technology. It is the way that value and contracts and storage and all of this stuff needs to happen in a digital age. It's the technology that enables this digital age that we're hurtling into. And the adoption is coming faster and faster. We're now seeing most of the financial system openly working on using this, from everything from equity settlements to cash settlements to payment transfers to credit card transfers. We're seeing giant brands starting to adopt it in the space. You know, people like Starbucks having their on-chain loyalty programs that we've talked about on Real Vision. We're seeing, you know, fashion brands, Adidas and people like that adopting the technology. We're seeing whole nations adopting the technology. We're seeing the investment community starting to adopt the technology. So it's a very exciting point.
The platforms Pal refers to are readily available, with countless individuals diligently working to enhance their functionality. We are now witnessing a more widespread acceptance and increased adoption across the globe, signaling the dawn of a promising future. Cathie Wood, the founder of ARK Invest, has foreseen this future since establishing her firm in 2014. In a February CNBC interview, Wood predicted a rapid surge in AI adoption, suggesting that by 2030, Amazon could have more robots than human employees, given its current pace of adding around 1,000 robots daily. The groundwork has been laid for blockchain and other disruptive platforms. However, the pivotal factor, as emphasized by Pal, is the imminent arrival of a substantial macroeconomic shift. This macro summer will witness an explosive expansion of the global money supply as central banks race to safeguard their economies from potential collapse. When you combine this explosive money supply growth with the emergence and rapid development of various technological platforms, the cryptocurrency industry takes center stage. Pal elaborates further on his insights into cryptocurrencies and technological stocks in the forthcoming exponential age.
And what makes it more exciting is we are in both macro spring and crypto spring. Well, macro spring only on the forward-looking indicators. Currently, we're still in kind of macro winter, where we might get final week GDP numbers into this quarter and next quarter. But the forward-looking stuff says we're going to come through the other side sooner rather than later. While inflation, etc., still keeps declining and unemployment probably ticks up. But crypto markets are forward-looking, much like technology stocks are, because these are secular trends and they're long-term growth stories. And those markets bottomed with global liquidity back in last year. ETH was first in June 2022, followed by much of the rest of the larger crypto tokens were in October, although some are still relatively weak today. That period from then on is what's referred to as crypto spring. It's kind of a choppy period, but you tend to get decent price rises when you look back and you think, God, that was a painful year. But then you look back and you're like, wow, okay. And we see that. Bitcoin's up over 100% in crypto spring. Solana's up 220%. ETH's up about 50%. So it's been pretty positive. And the forward-looking indicators of liquidity, which is the key driver of all of this, are all pointing up. That as the Fed back off rate rises, the ECB back off rate rises, the next phase we're starting to see China has started stimulating again. We will likely see the Japanese do something in terms of yield curve control or weakening the yen. The Europeans have made it pretty clear that they've stopped raising rates now. The Bank of England have stopped raising rates, and I think the Fed have stopped raising rates. So the probabilistic outcome is by next year, the rates start coming down again as inflation starts coming down and the forward-looking inflation indicators are coming down. So what you've got is a backdrop for crypto to do really well, which coincides with the Bitcoin halving, which coincides with the macro cycle, the everything code, where everybody reset interest rates in 2008 at 0%. They kind of meant that nobody had to pay their interest payments. And then what we've had, everybody reset their debts between 3 and 5 years, every major government, And that rolling of debts every 4 years coincides with the Bitcoin halving, is the global economic cycle. It corresponds with the ISM. It corresponds with crypto price action, corresponds with equity price action. All of these things, it's also the same as the election cycle. They're all one big cycle now. And we're at the point in the cycle where assets tend to do really well. So I'm very excited on a forward-looking basis, and I have been excited and been very long crypto all year, and tech. Tech's had an amazing year. Our exponential age basket from global macro investors up 50% this year as well. So technology's had a really stunningly good year. I still think it ends the rest of the year stronger, that this has just been a corrective, cheeky 10% correction, shake out the weak holders as we move forward as liquidity rises. So I'm looking forward to a real exponential age 2 years ahead, 2024, 2025, where we see both technology stocks and we see crypto really doing well. And crypto is usually the fastest horse in the race. It's more volatile, it has larger downside, but it has much larger upside.
Cryptocurrencies have consistently proven to be the swiftest contenders in the race, with an astonishing track record. They've amassed 400 million users in record time, outpacing the adoption rates of any previous technology. Bitcoin, the foremost cryptocurrency, has achieved mega cap status in less than 15 years, surpassing even renowned companies like Berkshire Hathaway and ExxonMobil in market capitalization. Remarkably, this achievement has been attained despite relentless negative campaigns against the industry, particularly in the United States. The industry has not only weathered these attacks but has emerged even more robust. This resilience alone provides ample reason for a bullish outlook on the upcoming crypto and macro cycle. What are your thoughts on Raoul Pal's predictions for crypto, tech stocks, and the macro landscape in 2024 and 2025? Share your comments and your predictions for your favorite crypto assets in the comments section below. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.